All right, so it is 3 o'clock Eastern time here in Boston. So I would like to get started, and welcome back to familiar faces that I see here, but welcome to those of you who are joining for the first time. My name is Allie. I'm a doctor of physical therapy as well as a nationally certified Pilates instructor. I have been practicing here in Boston for the last 5 years. I own my own practice here and have been teaching with the Community Online Academy since it started back in March. So today's program is my traditional back pain class. We are using the pillow as a small prop today, but otherwise really just working with our body weight. And this is a 30-minute class. We're going to be almost entirely movement-based today, some stretching, some strengthening. We're going to do a little self-assessment today to get a sense of where your limitations and restrictions are. That way you can tailor this class to your body, and I hope you get the most out of it. One little thing I'll say before we move is that if anything doesn't feel right for your body, please take a modification or take the option, take a little rest if you feel like you need to. Nothing in this class should hurt, nothing should be super painful, so take an option if you need to modify, and that's fine. That way you'll get the most out of this and leave feeling a little bit better than you came into it. So like I said, we're going to do some assessment today, and we're going to start with that, and then we're going to check again at the end to see any changes in our body. So we're going to look first at our range of motion, and we'll actually do this in standing. So I'm going to tip my camera up a little bit so you guys can see. Okay, so our spine moves in 5 different directions, and so we're going to look at all directions and just get a sense of which one bothers you, which one feels tight, which one feels sore. So standing up nice and tall, the first one is bending sideways. So we're going to bend to the right, down as far as you can go, coming back on up, and then we'll go to the other side to the left. So just checking to see maybe if you feel restricted more so on one side than the other, or if one side seems to be a little bit more painful, you can check both. This is also a nice little stretch for the opposite side. Okay, so the next one we're going to try is twisting. So you're going to cross your arms across your chest, keep your feet planted. They should be parallel when you look down, and then try twisting as far as you can to one side. Come back to the center and try twisting as far as you can to the other side. And just notice if you feel like one side is much tighter than the other, you feel like you can't go quite as far. Good. Okay. Next movement direction is leaning backwards. So I'll stand sideways. You're going to place your hands at your low back. Go slow, be gentle with this one, and lean back as far as you feel comfortable, feeling like you're getting a stretch, but not any pinching or pain. And then come back up. You can try that one once more here. I know this is one that for a lot of people feels quite tight, especially if you've been sitting a lot. And the last one is bending forward. So that's going to be rounding our spine, reaching down towards our toes. And then we'll gently come all the way back on up. You can bend your knees if needed. Now, while I have you guys standing, another thing that gives us some information about how stable our body is and how well aligned it is our balance. So if you feel like you know your balance is really off, stand near a wall, but plant your feet underneath you and try picking up your right foot. And just notice how natural, how comfortable that feels. Maybe that actually makes your back pain better. Maybe it makes it worse. Just notice it. And there's really not a right or wrong. This is just information for us to have. If you feel really wobbly, we're going to do some strengthening exercises later that helps your balance. Let's try the same thing on the other side. Plant your feet down firmly underneath you, push down into your right leg, pick your left leg up. Hold it there. Good. Maybe this side is easier. You guys all look pretty darn stable. Balance looks awesome. See if you can stand up nice and tall. Good, and bring that leg back down. All right, so we've got lots of stretching, lots of strengthening. I'm going to tip the camera down so you guys have a better view of my mat space. Let's get that to stay there. Okay, and bring your pillow. We're going to lie down on our backs. So find a comfortable resting position down with your knees bent, feet flat. And we're going to take this pillow and place it under our sacrum. Your sacrum is the bone that's between your low back and your tailbone. So if you lift your hips on up, you're gonna slide the pillow underneath your sacrum and let it rest down. And it should feel pretty comfortable. It should almost feel like a nice little release for your back. And the reason is that having your hips just slightly higher than your heart creates a decompression in your spine. So all day, our spine is compressed by the forces of gravity. By inverting just slightly, we get a little bit of decompression in the spine. So this is a little trick I like to show people. If you only had a minute or two and your back was really sore and you want it to feel a little bit better, you can always give this a try. Now just make sure that the pillow is not under your low back. It should be really low down on your sacrum. So I think a couple of you guys have it a little too high. Slide it down so it's just on, if you can picture where the waistband of your pants would be, it's just below that point. Now, as we lie here, go ahead and start to take some breaths, inhaling in through your nose and exhaling out through your mouth. And this is a technique called pursed lip breathing. You're breathing in through the nose. And when you breathe out through the mouth, it's as though you're blowing out through a straw, or maybe you're trying to blow out birthday candles. And I want you to try that. It's actually a really nice way to help relax some of the muscles that tend to tighten up and spasm in our low back. So you're breathing in through your nose, big breath in, and with your exhale breath out, really let that air go. Feel like you're trying to get rid of some of that stale air that hangs down in the bottom of our lungs. Big inhale breath in, expanding the ribs open, wide out to the side, and an exhale breath, let it go, blowing out through the lips. Try 2 more breaths just like this. And again, this type of breathing, it relaxes some of those big spasm muscles around our back, but it also helps to strengthen some of the small ones that surround our spine and give it stability. Last breath here. Good. And then gently let it go. So carefully now, we're going to slide that pillow out from underneath our hips. I'm going to fold mine in half since this is fairly thin, but if you have a thicker pillow, you don't need to. You're going to place it right between your knees. So the next thing we're going to look at is symmetry from side to side. So what you're going to start to do is squeeze in on the pillow here. So a soft, gentle squeeze in on the pillow and then a little release. As you squeeze in on the pillow, think about which leg is squeezing harder or maybe doing more work. See if you can get the timing of both legs to squeeze in together. And you should be using your inner thigh muscles, the adductors. If you're not sure, you can always take your hands there to feel that. What you don't want to feel is the muscles on the front of your hip. That is your hip flexor. And if you feel your hip flexor, chances are it's because your low back is too rounded. So try and release, keeping a small space under your low back as you do these little knee squeezes in. Believe it or not, this is also a nice thing that you can do if you have pain around your sacrum, the SI joint, or if you have any instability or weakness that's significant on one side compared to the other. Good. We'll try 3 more squeezes just like this. Nice, guys. Last 2 here. Last time. Now we're going to hold in on that squeeze. Bring your arms down by your side. Walk your heels in a little closer towards your bottom and plant your feet flat on the floor. We're going to use our squeeze to lift into a bridge and lower back down. So see if you can create a hug in on that pillow and then keep the shape of the pillow exactly the same as you lift your hips up and lower back down. You may find as you're lifting and lowering that your legs start to let go on that pillow. See if you can keep that hug in and maintain it the same even when you lower your hips back down. That should help you feel the work of bridging in your glutes, your butt muscles. Sometimes people do bridging and they feel it in their lower back or they feel it more in their hamstrings. If you feel it in your lower back, try pausing at the top, softening the front of the ribs as though you're connecting it towards your hips, and try and keep that space between the ribs and hips nice and small. Nice work here, guys. And we use the glutes for a lot of things, but one that was notable today is if it was painful for you to come back up to standing after being bent over, that means your glutes probably were not doing their job. That is one of their most important functions. Last time, just like this, and then lower the hips back down. We'll take a little rest. Okay, so we're going to take that now into an option for single leg bridge. If that felt really hard, I want you to do what we just did, one more set. Otherwise, we're going to try a version of a modified single leg, and this is how we can start to see if one side is much stronger than the other. So we're going to hold in on that pillow, lift the hips up, and this time you're going to lift your left heel. So just your left toes are down, and your whole right foot is on the ground. We're going to lift and lower now from this position, lifting and lowering. So both feet are down, but you can probably feel that your right leg is doing a bit more work than your left. So just notice that. Maybe it feels easier, maybe it feels harder. We're going to do the other side in just a moment, but still think about hugging in on that pillow just the same. So holding that gentle squeeze in even when you lower down. 2 more here. Once more, just like that, drop the hips down, drop your left heel down, lift your right heel up, hug in on the pillow, same thing. Good. We lift and lower. So for me, this side always feels much easier. Maybe it's the opposite for you. Maybe you're quite symmetrical and you don't feel a big difference from side to side, and that's great. Good. We'll try 3 more. And 2. One more time here, drop both hips down. You can release the pillow. We're going to go ahead and set that off to the side for the time being and balance all of that glute work out with a little bit of core work. So in our core work today, I want you to keep your rib cage down on the mat. Now that does not mean that your low back needs to smush into the mat. It's okay to leave a small curve in the low back, but you do not want to have space behind your ribs. So from here, reach both legs up towards the ceiling. If you feel particularly tight in your hamstrings, you can keep a soft bend in the knees or really work to press the legs straight. Make sure your ribs are down even in the start position. Now slowly lower your right leg down. Lift it back up. Lower your left leg down. Lift it back up. So if you're clicking and popping in your hips, bend your knees here, slow down your movement, only go as far as you can without your ribs lifting. And if you feel that it's only a teeny tiny motion, that's fine. I want you guys to work within what's comfortable for your body. If this is feeling really easy for you, you can go ahead and lower and switch both legs at the same time so they kind of meet in the middle. Keeping your head down, your shoulders relaxed, reaching out nice and long with your legs. Good. 3 more. That's it. And 2. One more time here. And then go ahead and hug both knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a very gentle rock from side to side, kind of rolling your body in a circle. You can roll your body in that opposite circular direction. And then rock yourself on up to a seat. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to take this now into the all fours position. So go ahead and flip on over, finding your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. Let me just tuck my shirt in here so you guys can see a little bit better. We'll start with a few cat-cows. So let your head hang down, rounding your spine up to the ceiling, and then let your chest drop down to the floor, head lift. Exhale as you curl the spine up, head hangs down, rounding. Inhale, dropping the ribs down, chest tall. Good. So you're using your spine to create this movement, but it should be comfortable within your body's available range of motion, which might look different than mine, and it might look different than your neighbors. We'll try one more time just like this, exploring those 2 extremes of movement, and then settling somewhere right in the middle. So that would be a flat upper back, leaving a small curve in our low back. Now from this position, we're going to drop down onto our forearms. And when you look down at your forearms, they should be parallel to one another, like the number 11. Holding this alignment, draw your ribs up away from the floor, reaching your left leg long back behind you. Now, chances are when you reached your left leg back, your body weight shifted to the right. Can you shift your body weight back to the left, keeping your navel pointing down towards the floor? stretch that left foot a little bit straighter and longer back behind you. Now, without moving your back, start to tap the floor and lift. Tap down and lift. So this little tap and lift here is strengthening for your left glute muscle, same thing. It's also a little stretch for your hip flexor, and it should be a little bit of core work to keep your body centered so that all your weight is not in that right side. 2 more. Last time here, lift it up. Go ahead and bend your left knee down. Reset, pull the ribs up away from the floor, and exhale to stretch the right leg long back behind you. Gaze is down, shoulders are down away from the ears. Shift your body weight to the right and start to tap the right toes down and lift. Lower and lift. Notice if your knee is bending as you lower your leg. That's telling you your hamstring is doing more of the work than what your glute should be doing here. Lift, good, and lift, that's it. Try 4 more. 3, good, guys. Last 2. Last time, hold it there, bend your knee in. Good, now we're gonna stay in this position, but grab your pillow and place your elbows on the pillow. This is just more for your comfort. You wanna think of the way a dog might stretch their paws in the morning. You're gonna shift your body weight backwards to send your head down between your shoulders. Maybe you even rest your forehead on the pillow in front of you. Now, this might already feel like a nice stretch for your upper back, for your shoulders. If you would like to add on, you can bend your elbows to tap your palms to the back of your neck. And this is just gonna deepen that stretch through your triceps and your lat muscles. So just notice that, letting the head hang down, chest dropping low. Take a couple of deep breaths in here. And deep breaths out. Good. And then let it go, coming all the way on up. Okay. So we're gonna go into a little bit of work lying down on our side, and you can bring your pillow with you. To follow my cues, I'm gonna lie down on my left side. So if you wanna make a little pillow with your bicep, the pillow is gonna be in front of you. Again, I'm folding mine in half just to make it a little bit thicker. And my top right leg is gonna rest down on top of the pillow. Okay. So with my head resting down, my knee resting on the pillow, we're gonna get into a rotation stretch for the upper back. So my top right hand is gonna reach forward to tap the floor in front of me. And then I'm reaching back up and over for the floor behind me. Now I'm only going as far as I can without my right leg lifting off the pillow. So if you feel your leg lifting, all that means is that the stretch is starting to go into your lower back and into your hips. And I know this class is a low back class, but oftentimes restriction in rotation or twisting, it comes from the upper back. And so we really want to try and focus this stretch to the upper back so you can start to work on those changes. Good. If this bothers your shoulder here, you can keep a soft bend in your elbow. Work within the range of motion that is comfortable for your body. We'll try 3 more. Just let your breath be comfortable here at the same time. Good. 2 more times. Excellent. Last one here. Good, and come all the way down. So we're gonna take that pillow out, we'll set it off to the side and try a little strengthening exercise here. So this time I'm gonna bend my bottom leg. So that is my left leg bent at a 90-degree angle. And my right leg is just reaching out. It's in line with my hip, both height-wise and angle-wise. So it's kind of as though I'm standing up on this right side. Now from here, reach that right leg a little bit farther to open the space between your right rib and hip. So you don't want any compression through that side. Keep stretching it out long. And we're gonna start with a straight leg to draw some circles. This circular motion uses the muscles on the outside of your right hip, and those muscles are really important for balance. So if you felt like balance was tricky, this is a good one to help you. These muscles also support your spine when you do unilateral activities, meaning something on one side of your body compared to the other. So you're carrying a heavy bag of groceries in just one hand. This muscle is really important. We're going to change directions. Make sure your knee is totally straight and make your circles only as big as you can without rolling your hips front to back. So you're nice and steady and strong. Good. 4 more. And 3. That's it. Last 2. And 1 more time here. Good. Now from this position, we'll roll right onto our stomach. So you can roll on over. If laying on your stomach is uncomfortable for your back, go ahead and place your pillow underneath your hips. Otherwise, you can rest your hands down flat on the mat, separate your feet a little bit wider than hip distance, and start to roll your spine up to lift your upper back. Maybe pressing up to lift into your low back if that's comfortable. But I want this to be a comfortable range of motion. So go slow, be gentle with your body, do what feels right for your body in this alignment here today. Curling up, pressing the heart open, and softening, melting the spine down, shoulders down away from the ears, curling up to lift, and softening to lower. Now this is a position of extension. So if you guys remember that leaning backwards, this is also the opposite of how we spend all day when we sit. And so this is one that is commonly very tight, but also very effective to combat the effects of sitting. So think about opening not just your low back, but your chest, rolling your shoulders down and back, pushing into your hands, picking up your heart, and lowering back down. We'll try 3 more here. That's it, guys. Last 2. And come all the way down. Good. Once more here. And come all the way down. Now you guys can just turn to your side. I'm going to come up so that I can still see you when we do the other side. And so we'll lie down now. I'll be lying on my right side. I'm going to make a little pillow with my bicep, bending my top leg to rest it down on the pillow and straightening the bottom leg. Okay, now in this position here, same thing, you want to make sure that your top leg stays on the pillow. My top hand is going to reach for the floor in front of me and then up and over to the floor behind me. It's normal to feel a difference from side to side here, so just work within what's comfortable for your body, but also making sure that top knee stays down on the pillow in front of you. Good, and letting your breath be comfortable and natural. I like to imagine that I'm opening the page of a giant book and then I'm closing that page. So you're getting a nice big opening and rotation and close that page. Good. We'll try a few more on this side. You can let your elbows softly bend if you need to. If it starts to be sore for your shoulder, you're really thinking about turning that chest down towards the floor and then turning your chest up to the ceiling. 2 more. Good, and 1 more time here. Excellent. Okay, so we're gonna remove that pillow. We'll set it off to the side, bend your bottom leg and stretch your top leg out long. Keep stretching it out a little bit farther, straighten that knee, make it really tight. Like if I tried to karate chop the back of your knee, I could not. And we'll draw those circles. Again, you should feel the little muscles on the outside of your hip working in your left leg in this case. And maybe your circles are a little bit bigger on this side. Maybe they're the size of a golf ball. They can be teeny, teeny, tiny. It doesn't have to be big to be effective here. Good. 4 more in this direction. 3, 2. Good, guys. Last time we're going to switch direction. Now, again, this is that help with balance. This is also help with some of those side bending movements. Good. 4, 3, 2, One more time here, bend the knees in. Good, we're gonna gently press ourselves on up to a seated position. I'm gonna find a crisscross seat, but you can sit in any way that's comfortable for you. If you're more comfortable sitting up on your pillow, you can certainly do so here. So in your crisscross, make sure your chest is tall, your shoulders are rolling down and back. Open up your arms and take up space. So the last exercise or spinal movement really that we haven't explored is bending sideways. So this is that one where we were bending our hands or sliding our hands down towards our knee when we were standing. So we're going to start to open up our sides. We also get a nice little stretch for the shoulders with this one. So go ahead and explore that. Keep your head tall, shoulders roll down and back. Good. Reaching up and over, good. That's it, gently allowing the arms to sway in the breeze. Good, 4 more. Good, and 3. That's it, guys, last 2. And 1 more time here. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna come up to standing so we can recheck our balance and we can recheck our spine motion. So come on up, I'm going to adjust the camera once again. Okay. All right. So hopefully your back is already feeling a little bit looser by moving around. Get comfortable in your standing position. Make sure your feet are parallel underneath you, pushing down into the ground. And we're gonna slowly bend our spine sideways, coming right on up and bending to the other side. I know I definitely feel like I have more motion doing that. We can check that one more time on each side. Good. We'll check our rotations next. You can cross your hands across your chest. Go ahead and twist, keeping your feet planted. You can allow your hips to twist a little bit here if that feels comfortable. Good. Okay. Let's take a look at leaning backwards. So if we turn, we bring our hands to our lower back, standing tall, push into your back very gently, lean backwards. Very nice, coming up tall. And the last one, to bend and lean forward. You can bend your knees if needed, but allow your head to hang heavy and reach down gently towards the floor. Take a breath in here and slowly come all the way on up. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna recheck now our balance as well. And I wanna show you guys a couple things to think about in your balance. So I'm gonna actually stand sideways. Look down, make sure your feet are truly parallel to one another. Push your right foot down into the floor, picking your left foot up. Notice if your body leans back to compensate, try stacking your shoulders right up on top of your hips. And just notice how you feel there. Push into the floor, chest tall, core is active, glutes are active. Good. And then we're gonna try the other side. So we'll push down into the floor, this time down into your left foot, floating that right leg up. Chest tall, shoulders roll down and back. You guys look super solid here, so I think something is working. Good, open up your chest, look at one thing that's not moving, and then plant your foot down. While I have you guys in standing, let's do one community breath here together. We'll take a big inhale breath, reach tall. And an exhale breath, you can let it go and shake it out. So that concludes our movement-based part of the class today. And what I hope you took from this class is certainly some stretches and some strengthening that you can do for your back. But I also hope that you have a better idea of what kinds of things might bother your back, which is different from person to person, and maybe some areas of weakness or tightness that might be worth addressing or spending a little bit more.